Let's talk about the Jackson 3 next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome to FVT in 5. I'm Chris Towers. I'm here with Scott White and 3 rookies, the oldest of whom is only 21 years old, all named Jackson, all had awesome games on Wednesday night. Scott, who would you rather have the rest of the season? Jackson Holiday, Jackson Merrill, or Jackson Chorio?
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to put Jackson Chorio third of this group. I'm going to commit to that right away.
Okay.
He's been good lately, don't get me wrong. Last 12 games, Jackson Chorio batting .396 with 2 homers, 1 steal, or I guess 3 steals now because he went 3 for 5 with 2 steals on Wednesday. His average exit velocity during that stretch is 88.5 miles per hour, so we haven't seen him improve that enough for me to believe Jackson Chorio is going to be a big source of power. He's doing enough other things that I think he's on the fringes of being a starter in 3 outfielder leagues. But I think the other 2 Jacksons, Merrill and Holiday, are already there, and I have them 1 spot separating them in my shortstop rankings. I got Merrill ahead. Now, what Holiday's doing, very impressive. He was widely considered the top prospect in baseball coming into the year and remains so even after his initial struggles. So on the one hand, it's not surprising, but he just looks so bad during that initial stint in the majors that I think.
And really early on at AAA wasn't tearing the cover off the ball. It took him a little while to figure it out down there.
Right, but now this is 3 straight games with a homer. The one he hit here on Wednesday was 424 feet. Not striking out nearly as much. Just looking like who we wanted him to be in the first place.
Yeah, 4 homers since coming back from AAA as well in 24 at-bats.
Yeah, very impressive all the way around. But Jackson Merrill has been too. And there's been a lot of questioning about the power for Jackson Merrill because he had that big home run binge in June, and then he homered. It was just once in July, right?
Once in July, then 2 times today.
And 2 times here on Wednesday. But if you look at the entire span of at-bats from June to today here in early August, his fly ball rate during that stretch is over 40%. Like if you're hitting the ball hard, that's going to yield some power, a 40% fly ball rate. And by the way, it's not like it was down in July, and this is heavily relying on June. He's just been hitting a lot more fly balls. So I think the 1 home run in July was actually more the fluke for Jackson Merrill than the 2 homer game here and what he was doing in June. And by the way, the data seems to back that up. His expected batting average, according to StatCast, 295. That's always been high, but his expected slug now is up to 496, which is also very high. His actual slug 467, so he's actually underperforming it. I expect him to live up to that X slug more going forward.
All right, another guy who had a very, very productive Wednesday and has just really been quietly very good all season is Zach Neto, who went 4 for 9, 2 home runs, 2 runs, 8 RBI across the doubleheader against the Yankees on Wednesday. He is hitting .350 with a .950 slugging percentage in the month of August. Remains on a 22 homer, 28 pace, and something we've talked about a lot over the past couple of months is, Neto's running. And he's hitting for a little power. But it was hard to get excited about him for fantasy because he's in a bad lineup and he was low in that bad lineup. All of a sudden, he's batting in the top. I think he's batting leadoff consistently, or no, second for the Angels lately. And that could be really good. Is he a must roster shortstop? He's 73% rostered right now.
Well, the question is the leagues that don't offer the middle infield spot. So like a typical head-to-head lineup. That's really where it's a question.
And that's his worst format anyway.
I would think so, yeah. He is top 12 now, even before including this performance in the doubleheader. Zach Neto is top 12 now among shortstops in points leagues. But obviously there are some players who've missed some time who are behind him. Mookie Betts, Carlos Correa, to name a couple. There are several more that I would rank ahead of Neto rest of season. So you keep both of the Jacksons at shortstop, right? Jackson Merrill, Jackson Holiday. They haven't produced as much as Neto this year, but I'd rank them ahead going forward. So you keep putting those names in front of Neto, and it's hard to keep him inside the top 20, honestly,
Yeah.
at shortstop. So I think it's fine if you're using him in a shallower league with a smaller lineup, but I don't see him as a difference maker in that
Ideally,
format,
he's
even
a
still.
corner infielder, right?
A middle infielder, yeah.
Or middle infielder, yeah, sorry. All right, and before we wrap up, a couple of injury notes. Joe Ryan was removed from his start Wednesday in the third inning due to right triceps tightness. Triceps usually not an injury you hear with pitchers being a significant one unless there's some underlying elbow issue involved. So I guess that's relative good news, but it's concerning anytime you've got an arm injury. And then Grayson Rodriguez was placed on the IL on Wednesday. He had an MRI, came back a mild right lat strain. Manager Brandon Hyde did say Wednesday the team is optimistic that Rodriguez will pitch again this year, but he's going to miss at least a couple of weeks, and wouldn't be a surprise if, we didn't see him until September if he has to go on a rehab assignment and all that. So even in a best case scenario, we're still going to be without Grayson Rodriguez for a little while. And that's going to do it for FBT in 5. We'll see you tomorrow.